Welcome to Manosphere Daily, the only channel where we say what every man's thinking but nobody's allowed to say out loud. This isn't about hate, it's about truth. Hit that like button, subscribe, and join the movement.
That makes sense for you as far as like why divorce is inherently more risky for men?
I just feel like you're saying because women tend to be the person who initiates a divorce, correct?
Yes.
That's why it's riskier for men, but why do women tend to end divorces? With successful men that have money, they cheat.
She said it earlier.
They do all these things that women don't want to put up with.
She said it earlier. It's
so
a feeling.
why?
Feelings change from day to day.
Yeah. So I could have been in love with the person at the moment, but if that person is no longer treating me well just because we're married, I have to say no.
That's the point.
Because he can't be a good husband.
So as a man,
that's all I'm asking.
If I marry you and you decide, you know what, he's not the guy I thought he was anymore, I'm leaving. You take half my stuff, and maybe.
So is there no risk without reward? You married me, right?
No. So once again, this is why
you wanted to marry me.
Don't want to get married.
You loved me enough that it would be worth it to you to marry me and take the risk.
Hold on, stop the show. You just basically admitted it with your own words. Why guys don't get married?
Gentlemen, if you're in your 40s and you're single, your dating value market is at an all-time high. And I'm not saying this just to hype you up, but I have spoken to a lot of my clients who are 40 plus and they don't see their own value. Here are some problems that I see. Number one, you focused on your increasing age when the woman hasn't. If you're young at heart, you can be 70 and still find a catch. In therapy, I call this a limiting self-belief or age excuses, to be blunt. Secondly, you're over 40, but you're just done with all the BS. You have just been through so much that now you have this overreactive BS radar. And lastly, if you're 40, single, unmarried, or divorced, women will wonder if you are traumatized. Make sure you call it out and set your intentions clearly and confidently.
What I noticed lately is that a lot of men rather stay single because they're tired of giving their everything and ending up with nothing. Do you guys agree with that?
This is 100% the truth. Girls really don't value anymore what men bring to their lives. The world now has become primarily about material. There is always somebody else that can provide better material. Because of this, there's no real reason to cling on to one person or another. There's always somebody better, right? This, of course, is only if you define somebody by what they provide in the material world. The harsh reality, of course, is this. Most people really don't deserve or need that much material. Just because you feel that you deserve something doesn't mean you actually do. Your life will eventually show you that reality one way or the other. Since girls always have a shoulder to cry on, they may not realize it ever.
They keep asking, where have all the good men gone? Why don't men want to date anymore? Why are men so emotionally unavailable? But the truth is simple. Men didn't disappear. They just stopped playing a rig game because modern dating stopped being about connection and became a test, a competition, a one-sided interview where men are expected to prove their worth to women who bring entitlement instead of effort. So when you see more men walking away, it's not because they hate women. It's because they finally realized peace is better than chaos.
For some reason, that seems to work. If you were to ask if you were to ask an attorney, what is the single biggest financial agreement me as a man am going to get into in my entire life? Marriage. Is it my house or my car? It is your marriage.
Yep.
And yet you are far more informed on the financial details of your car and your house than you are in your marriage. In your marriage, you will get married with no education, no prenup, no nothing. And I recommend people go speak to a divorce attorney before they get married so that it helps them stay married. I also think this is going to be really controversial.
Most people get married broke, though, so it does,
sure.
like a prenup ain't.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Yes, another thing. I will say this. I think prenups will help marriages stay together in a lot of cases. Very similar to how you'll see in neighborhoods where people have fences and there's like dual gun ownership, that you have the lowest level of crime because people like, no one's going to rob us. It's like we have boundaries. I think when people have boundaries, like they understand the boundaries of the world. You have boundaries. Your wife doesn't cheat on you. You don't cheat on your wife. That is a boundary. No matter what people say, you have boundaries in your relationship.
Oh, we for sure do.
If your wife's like, hey, I just want to let you know, assalamu alaikum, I've converted to Islam. This is a problem, honey. We got to deal with this. That's a boundary. Having those boundaries helps a relationship. Having like where there is no incentive for someone to break out of the relationship through a prenup, the prenup should de-incentivize both parties from divorcing. Or the prenup should de-incentivize both parties from cheating. If you do that, I think that can actually help the situation. And so that's where there's a problem. It's like men are now getting married at 30 and they're getting married to women who don't really want them, who are like settling. Sheryl Sandberg, she had the quote is like, hey, when you're young, date them all, date the hot guy and the fun guy. But when you're older, date the guy who thinks that taking out the trash is sexy or whatever. And it's like, bro, I'm supposed to wait while you run through all these dudes. And then when I'm 30, I'm going to settle down with you after you've been through all these, after you've rocked the bartender. I'm like, I'm not going to wait. That's crazy.
Let's be honest. Dating used to be simple. Two people met, connected, built something real. Now, it's a marketplace. Men swipe endlessly just to get ignored. They're expected to pay, plan, entertain, and compete for attention from women who already have a dozen options waiting online. And when they don't chase, they're labeled lazy, insecure, or toxic. But here's the truth. Men are tired of performing. They're tired of being treated like disposable wallets. They're tired of being shamed for having standards. More men are waking up. They're focusing on themselves, their fitness, money, peace, and purpose. They're realizing that every date isn't worth their time. That being single isn't a curse. It's a form of protection. Because what does dating offer today? False promises, mixed signals, and a culture that tells men to man up when they're hurt, but mocks them when they show emotion. So instead, they're walking away. Not bitter, not broken, just done.
But I'll talk to women who've been with 50 guys, literally were in a marriage, telling me this wasn't true, and they cheated on their husband at the same time. They think like they're.
Well, yeah, I mean, people are delusional. That's just, you know.
Sadia
that's
Khan,
life.
she has this one clip that went viral, which basically she was talking to Lewis Howell, and she says, I believe that women cheat more than men, but women don't admit that it's cheating. They're like, when a woman cheats, it's like, no, he wasn't validating me, so it's not cheating.
That part has gone up because of discontent of thinking like this is what the ideal life is. I see this guy or this girl and, you know, everything looks perfect on social media and my life's not like, so it's social media has made comparing, you know, this thing that now is causing more, dissatisfaction with your life when it's just.
In general, there's more dissatisfaction. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Because we don't have gratitude, because we don't live in a survival scenario anymore. You have gratitude because, I mean, I saw your sales team is right next to your office. I do the same thing. One of my sales guys lives with me. Right?
Yep.
My next door neighbor, 2 more sales guys live over there.
Yep.
I'm so grateful that I'm changing their lives too. And I'm so grateful when guys come back to me and like, hey man, you changed my life. You've really helped me a lot. There's a lot of people in our situations that would be like, all of my needs are cared for and I'm just dissatisfied with life. You'll see that, like a great example would be the Charlie Sheen situation. Highest paid actor on television. Everyone thinks you're good looking. Everyone thinks you're funny. And you're literally playing yourself on TV. Like, think about the amazing validation you get from that, where you win awards and you're getting paid more than everyone else. So what do? Do you show gratitude or no? Do you go have unprotected sex with stars and smoke crack until you get AIDS? That's what he actually did. That's a complete and total lack of gratitude for your situation.
And now, women are confused. They're saying, why are men so emotionally distant? Why don't men try anymore? Well, because they did for years. And every time they tried, they were met with disrespect, rejection, or manipulation. You can't keep telling men we don't need you, and then cry when they believe you. They watched how single mothers talk about their exes, how social media glorifies independence, and how dating apps reward the worst behavior. So now, they've chosen distance, not out of hate, but out of self-respect.
So there's a 56% divorce rate, and 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So
80%?
80%. So 70 to 80%. Whenever I talk to women about this, their obvious next reaction is, well, of course, because it's the men's fault. The men do this, the men do that, the men do whatever. And I'm like, okay, what if we ran an experiment where we controlled for men? So a way to do that would be to look at same-sex couples, gay men and lesbian women. What is their divorce rate? So what should happen is, if it's men's fault, is that homosexual men should get divorced at a higher rate than lesbian women. And the opposite is true. Lesbians get divorced at twice the rate that homosexual men do. So when women don't even have men to blame, they are leaving marriages faster than men are. That shows that there is an issue. Where does that issue come from? I personally believe it is stimulus, that it comes from the incredible amount of options that women believe they have from social media and from dating apps.
Do you think that, my opinion would be, women are more emotional than men?
Sure.
And when you're emotional, you make emotional decisions?
Yes. You also make things up. You also like you looked over at a car and there was a girl standing by it, and your wife's like, "Why are you looking at that girl?" And you're like, "I wasn't." It's like, "Why are you lying to me?" I was like, "I'm not lying to you. I wasn't even looking at her." That kind of thing where it's just made up. That may be more prevalent in lesbian relationships than in homosexual relationships, which is part of the reason why. That's just a theory why that's happened. I've definitely been in relationships before where a woman feels something and now she starts attributing
my theory would be
to
just
me.
emotions. Like I just think
for sure
you just make spur of the moment decisions when you're emotional.
Right, but what you wouldn't see though then is a decline in marriage and then a 56% divorce rate if that was something that the problem is there's issues that always happen, but then when social media came out, these issues got exacerbated, and the exacerbation is because of the social media. The study that I meant to bring up to you before is the GSS does this study where they looked at the average number of sexual partners for women that cheated in a relationship and the average number of sexual partners for women that did not cheat, so before marriage. So they did this survey. And I would have a group of 10 girls there, and I would say, do you think that body count matters as far as cheating in a relationship? And, of course, all the women are going to say no. Of course it doesn't matter. I can sleep with 50 guys before I'm married. I would never cheat on my husband. And I'm like, so if I did a survey with 7,000 women, what I should find is the women who cheated should have the same previous number of sexual partners as the women who don't cheat, right? Is that what I should find?
Yeah.
And if it was 10% more, that would be
a little variance.
A little variance. If it was 50% more, that would be pretty significant.
Yeah.
It is 230% more. The women who cheat in relationships have had 230% more sexual partners than women who didn't. That is statistically significant and incredibly offensive, Ryan. If you think about that, if you explain that concept to women, that is horribly offensive. What do you mean? There's actual data that shows that you can't turn up into a housewife? Actual data that shows that? That's horribly offensive. You shouldn't be posting that stuff, Michael. Who hurt you? You're promoting incel culture and hatred towards women. No, I'm not. What I'm doing is telling women that I'm close to maybe having a massive body count before you get married is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Men aren't emotionally unavailable. They're selectively available. They're just done wasting time and energy on people who only value them when it's convenient. They've seen the double standards, the lack of accountability, and the way loyalty gets mocked in modern dating. So instead of chasing validation, they're chasing purpose. And ironically, that's when women start chasing them.
Here is why intelligent men stay single. At work, being logical is rewarded, but that doesn't work with dating. Women want to feel emotions. This means flirting, telling stories, and making her laugh. Only when you stir her emotions can her attraction for you grow.
Think about this. The divorce rates, approximately 50% divorce rates in the USA, and 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So who really tends to give up the most? By the numbers, it's...
How dare you?
It's women.
Women divorce men 70 to 80% of the time. I would argue in relationships, it's probably similar. Men aren't leaving, women are. So to a guy's point of view, he's going to commit to this girl. And what does he get? He doesn't get purity anymore. You know, these hoes. You know, he doesn't get youth anymore. So he doesn't get either of those things. A lot of times she already has a kid. So he's not fulfilling his mating strategy. On top of that, even if he does find a good woman that maybe has the qualities he's looking for, she was going to want him to marry her. And what does he get out of that? Oh, she can leave and take half and take my kid. And she's paid to take my kids away from me. She gets more money if she takes my children. And so from the men's point of view, they're just kind of like, F it, because like women aren't wives nowadays. And what do they get out of it?
But
like
you know,
men are logical. They're logical people. And so they're thinking, does the benefit outweigh the cost? And like, I just think as women, we have to look at ourselves and say, the benefits we bring nowadays don't outweigh the cost for most men.
Reason why young men especially are hesitant to get married is because for a lot of men, they don't see any benefit from it. You're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. If someday she could say, you know what, I'm not really feeling this anymore. I'm going to divorce you, but you're still going to be responsible for paying for me for the rest of your life.
Like I said, I'm pro prenup, and alimony is not gendered. It's literally a formula in most states. And so in a situation, I do think like, yeah, if a man wants to get married, you should think about this. You should think about this possibility. But I don't think that it's fair that a woman who has given up so much in order to be a homemaker shouldn't have any, shouldn't have anything. She should just be left on the street.
So the next time you see a man who's peaceful, focused, and uninterested in dating, don't call him broken. Call him free. Because real men don't run from women. They just walk away from disrespect. This is Manosphere Daily, where truth cuts deeper than comfort. If you're a man who's choosing peace over pressure, hit like, subscribe, and comment. I'm staying focused because in 2025, men aren't quitting love. They're quitting nonsense.
I told my husband I wanted a divorce. And this would probably shock a lot of my friends and my family because I hadn't told anybody. I have been searching for something in my relationship that we don't have for the whole time we've been married, which has been 10 years. There is not a single thing about my husband in and of himself that I do not love. Let me be very clear about that. He is the most self-disciplined, loyal, hardworking, good person that you could meet on this planet.
This is exactly why so many men don't want to get married. Because they could be the most loyal, hardworking, honest, good man, but then they end up divorced. That is scary because if he's literally doing nothing wrong, then what can he fix? But here this man is. He's already doing everything. What's even worse is that this has been going on in her head for 10 years. He probably had no clue. And then she'll give him 6 months to somehow fix it after it's been going on for more than 10 years. It's so unfair. And this is what men mean when they say that it came out of nowhere, that they were blindsided. She blindsided him. She can't say that, well, she told him 6 months ago that it was a problem and it needed to be fixed. And then they end up in divorce. And then she claimed that she didn't blindside him. You did blindside him.
Today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.